So, welcome everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chloe Ballatori, and I am a relationship and communication expert. I'm a graduate of Princeton University and Pat Allen's Want Institute. Um, Most people know Princeton. Pat Allen is kind of a local celebrity in LA and Orange County areas. She's almost 90 now, but she was my mentor and I learned from her androgynous semantic realignment. I also use the tools of Eric Berne's transactional analysis, and I use tools that I've come up with myself because I've been doing this for about 12 years now. In addition to everything I'm going to be teaching you guys tonight being backed by proven psychological and scientific principles, I have done this work myself. I have taught thousands of other people. I'm now, let's see, almost 22 years married. And so everything that I'm telling you guys, I've also tried myself and I have vetted myself. Um, okay. Hmm. So what I'm going to do is give you guys a quick introduction to this work, the principles it's founded on, um, and what's really unique about this work are the tools to execute on those principles. Like I said, the principles that this work is founded on are already established psychologically, philosophically, scientifically, and I'll go into defining that. And then I'm going to spend most of the time, so that will take like 10 minutes. Then I'm going to spend most of the time answering your guys' questions. So think about if any questions come up about dating, about relationships, those are my specialties. But I also help people with communication problems, conflict resolution, family problems, friendship issues, you name it, parenting stuff, because the tools, this work radiates throughout all of life. And once you understand these dynamics, you can harness them to really give you an advantage in other areas as well. Um, when you get really good at this work, you'll see it's almost like telling the future. Okay, so what are we talking about? When we talk about successful relationships, what we're talking about are relationships that are balanced between complementary energies, feminine and masculine, yin and yang, call it what you will. Even if it's feminine energy, that doesn't mean you're necessarily a woman, and vice versa. But these tend to be the most successful relationships. All of us have a relationship with ourselves that is balanced between feminine and masculine energy. Um, all of us are both. So it's important to understand what these energies mean and that one is not better than the other. Okay. When we talk about feminine energy, that's the right side of the brain. That is the feeling side, the limbic brain, passive, patient, vulnerable, the center of spirituality, creativity, magic, sexuality, sensuality. Feminine energy is in the world to make it fun, but it's not of the world. It's receiving, it's magical. Okay. And then we have the left hemisphere of the brain, the masculine or yang energy. And that energy is linear thinking. It's competitive, conquering, controlling. It's doing, achieving, taking care of. Most of us are in our masculine energy when we're at work, for example, because that's where we're really trying to achieve. Um, and masculine energy is very much of the world. So a good metaphor for masculine energy is bricks, while a good metaphor for feminine energy are flowers. And if you want to get more into yin and yang energies, there's a great book about that called The Yin Yang of Life by Dr. Kim and Dr. Lee, where they literally break down almost everything in the world, colors, food, times of day into yin yang. And you really start to see how the world is organized between these two dualities and all the shades of gray in between. And that's, of course, what the yin yang symbol is meant to connote, is that fluid nature. Because as women get older, we have hormonal changes that technically make us more masculine. And as men get older, they have hormonal changes that make them more feminine. Okay. So we're constantly in flux in our within ourselves and within our relationships. Sometimes I deal with people who are so equally balanced that they might be feminine in one romantic relationship and masculine in their next romantic relationship. So, a lot of it is understanding yourself and what your authentic energy is and what your authentic balance is. Often, what I ask people is, which do you want more? Do you want your feelings cherished or your thoughts respected? Everybody wants both. But in your romantic relationships, it's important to know which comes first for you. So that's something that you can ponder if you have never heard that question before. Now, again, all of us have this authentic balance within ourselves. This balance, though, gets thrown off in childhood when we have any kind of trauma, basically trauma with a T, um, like capital T or a lowercase t, doesn't really matter in this context. But what we have to do as children is we have to attach to the people who own the refrigerator. And so often that comes at the sacrifice of our authenticity. And because these attachments occur between the ages of 0 and 12, they have a deeper impact on us, really, than anything else that will happen the rest of our lives. They occur during critical development windows. And that provokes us to conclude that these are existential truths when really what we've had to develop are strategies of the moment. And the problem comes when we take these strategies into our adult life, it tends to sabotage our relationships first because that's where we usually see childhood trauma issues arise. Your issues usually arise first in your most intimate relationships. And so I help people a lot if you have a pattern that you don't like or script you what we call in transactional analysis scripts. If you have a script that you've been following that you maybe are sensing isn't true or isn't serving you, I really help people bring a lot of awareness to these things and then understand how to take a counter action against some of these injunctions that we learned in childhood. Nobody does it alone. Again, it takes a lot of awareness and it does take courage, but you're gonna go through pain here on this planet regardless. There's the pain of change and the pain that change needs to take place. So I'm wholeheartedly in the camp of the pain of change. And you may as well confront these things because whatever you're avoiding is controlling you. Okay. So that is my basic spiel. Again, I work with men, I work with women, I work with couples, I work with teenagers. Um, So you can raise your hand or you can put a question into the chat. I'm going to put my credentials in there right now. Um, and I also love to hear your guys' updates because I've been building this community on Meetup for over 2 years now, I think. And it's really become a place and a group. So it's nice to hear people's updates, hear how you guys are using these tools. Once you start doing this work, you will see changes in your life. So be prepared for that. And sometimes, especially in the beginning, you see changes very, very quickly. Oops. Okay. So yeah, so raise your hand or throw it into the chat. If you want private work, you can hit me up for a private session. I also teach this work. If you want to sign up for one of the module packages, those are smaller groups that are more intimate and private. I've written 4 books on this work. They're all available on Amazon. And the first one, How to Live, Find Love, and Keep It, is all about the basics. Um, and the tools that we're going to learn. This work is great because it's so different from regular therapy. Um, a lot of times we go to therapy and we get that chance to express ourselves, but have, we often, after a while, we don't see any change because often therapists don't really give advice or they just listen. And so there hasn't been a lot of attention on actually doing things that will affect change. And so that's why I love this work because you see so much change. And that's what actually led me into it. Is I saw a tremendous change in a friend, and I wanted to have me some of that. She went from being you know, poor, single, young mother, always struggling to really succeeding in all those areas, getting married and getting a great job and all that. And I was really impressed by that. And so that's kind of what led me into this work. And I didn't really understand it at first. So if you didn't understand a lot of the stuff that I said, don't worry. Um, but I stuck with it and then it started to make sense. And that was really gratifying. Okay. So raise your hand or put your question in the chat. Um, I know sometimes it's hard to share in a room of strangers, but oh, here we go. Sometimes it's easier. Okay, this is from Yanli. Hi, Chloe. Thanks for the advice last time. What is a good way to ask a guy for a more updated picture or video chat? Okay. So one thing that you can do, and if maybe I've already mentioned this to you before, but it's a good idea to try to get off the conversation, like the text or the app or whatever it is, within 2 weeks. You don't want to just be chatting and chatting endlessly. So if you've already been chatting for 2 weeks max, then you can say, hey, um, I've really enjoyed, I know you want to come from the feminine energy, so you lead with an emotion. I really enjoyed chatting with you and getting to know you. However, I feel more comfortable over a video call. What do you think? Asking about his thoughts because he's in the masculine. Does that make sense?
Yes, Chloe, yeah, I think that sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah, I just didn't want to sound like I don't want people to be put off. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So that's why you lead with your feelings and ask about his thoughts.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Because yeah, I there's this guy who is like very talkative, but I think his picture is very outdated. And so I think I think that's great advice. After 2 weeks, it's being a little too long. So it's need to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people are just on these apps and they're not even really single. And
Right.
those might be people that you're encountering who don't want to meet in person, or
Right.
they're not serious, or they're just, fishing around. So, yeah,
Yeah.
don't waste too much time with that. Because
Right.
really, like I saw something recently where somebody was saying, I was in this relationship with a man for a year and we never met. If you guys haven't met, there's no relationship. There's
Right.
no relationship.
Yeah. What
So,
What do you
you know,
think of a man like someone says, normally people ask you your number, right? What do you think if someone asks you for email address or asks you to use Google Chat?
I think that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because
But I
then I
think,
said I haven't used Google Chat, and then he's asking me to set it up. It's
well, yeah, I mean, if you don't understand it, then don't like bust, bend
right.
over backwards to figure it out, If I see what you're saying, it's a little sus because it's like, why can't you just use regular chat like your phone,
Right.
So it could be a yellow flag, you can keep your eye on that, but people have their weird preferences. If it's too much for you, they'll just say, I can't figure it out. What do you think about WhatsApp or something else? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, well,
Thank you.
try it and let me know how it goes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so can I give you an update?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give me an update.
Yeah. Remember you gave me the advice of that for the meeting. And this guy, we went back forth a little bit. He was a little bit vague. He was saying, oh, maybe we can meet up. So I said exactly what you were your advice. So yeah,
Right.
or that's be great. What you when you're thinking, then he said, "Oh, where do you live?" So I said, "Not." I told him where he lived, and he said, "Not far. We can definitely figure something out." So then I just said that again. Okay, yeah. Let me know when you're thinking. Then he said, "Oh yeah, maybe next Tuesday or Sunday." So I said, "Oh yeah, next Sunday sounds good." So then he starts saying, "I'm really looking forward," but he hasn't set anything up yet for this Sunday. But then he started talking about. So he asked me what to do, what I did. So I said I worked out, and then he started talking about, "Oh, I work out too. I have a really solid six pack." And I'm watching a movie now. I wish you were here to watch a movie with me. And then, yeah, so it just sounds a little weird now. So when he said, you know, I have a very
Yeah.
solid chest. You love my
Right.
chest. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I understand. Again, I think it's a yellow flag,
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like maybe a lot of times guys don't know what to say. And
Okay.
sometimes and they know they need to keep the conversation going.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, before texting, it would just be like, I remember people just be on the phone and just in silence with a guy, but just on the
Mm.
phone. They
Right.
get nervous sometimes. So, um, yeah, just see how it goes with the in-person meeting.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully it's gonna
You'll
come.
know a lot more then.
Yeah. But this thing freaks me out a little bit. He said, I'm sure you have a solid body too. Would love to see the workouts you do as well. We can work each other out. Something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's a little questionable.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, when you make your meeting, if you decide to meet, do it in a public place. If
Yes.
you don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable, I mean, look, anybody could say anything, and it's not like there's one thing that's okay to say and one thing that's wrong to say. But
Mhm.
because you're expressing discomfort with it,
Hmm.
you might be having a gut instinct that it's not a great match for you, or,
Mhm.
certainly I don't want you walking into a dangerous situation.
So is the
You
movie
know,
theater a public place?
yeah, meet him in a public place for the first time. Have a friend on call, to call you at a certain time just to check on you. You can
Right.
you can
Yeah.
build in stuff like that. And
Okay.
then when you see him in person and you meet in person, I think you'll know.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay.
It is sometimes hard over chat.
Mhm. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, let me know how it goes. I look forward to hearing your update.
Okay.
And thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Wendy.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Wendy. How are you?
Hey, can you hear me from here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm having a little bit of a setback with sort of being okay with guys waiting so long to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some guy reached out and said, let's get a coffee, and I said yes, and then I didn't hear from him for 9 days, and I'm thinking also about, last time you said remember the guy didn't call for 10 weeks, and
Mm-hmm.
then he reached out in text and said, let's get together Sunday, but didn't make a time. And he said the
Right.
8 weeks starts all over. I'm a little
Right.
confused on that because, I mean, is there ever a point where you go, look, you kind of screwed up enough times, or what
Yeah, you
happened?
can do that at any point. You can do that at any point.
So what do
Um,
you mean it starts over? Why does it
well,
start?
it means from his point of view. It's not, it just means that if you, in terms of expecting him to reach out, it's not that you're sitting around waiting around, but it's just that sometimes that's how long it takes on average. A lot of us girls think like, oh, if he doesn't reach out after a day, or if he doesn't reach out after 2 days, we went over what the different rumination periods are during that time. But on average, men, if they're interested, will reach out within 8 weeks. Okay. Doesn't mean you have to wait. And it doesn't mean you have to say, when they do reach out, oh, yeah, let's go. You don't have to do that, especially if you're not interested. And everyone has different expectations and different things that they want out of relationships. I really have worked with people that are absolutely fine seeing their significant other on the weekends. And I've worked with people who that would be a complete deal breaker. They need to see their person every day, you know? So it's really about what you want. I think some of these guys are signaling to you that maybe they're not that available, at least at this moment, you know. Um, but it's not like you have to like sit around waiting for them. Go out, get your flirt on.
No, of course, right. I'm seeing other people, but
Good.
I'm just wondering, like, I mean, I'm not the 10-week guy. Like, I don't think we're probably the right match, but I really would be interested to meet him because I'm meeting people that are, yeah, I'm trying to meet people that are different than I normally
Right.
would. And so I'd be curious to meet him, but I feel it would be a little weird to not say, well, what happened to you last time? But I thought that was only reserved if you really like him to say something that,
No, you could say that. You could say what happened.
oh, okay, I thought that was a no-no.
As long as you don't just say it like just try not to say it with an attitude. Just be like, "Hey," and better if you lead with a feeling. Like, I really enjoyed talking to you. What took so long?
Yeah, yeah.
But it
So,
is, it still is, you have to understand, questioning, criticizing, these are touchy things. And so it might not be the first thing you say if you want to see him again. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because he could
Well,
take that, you know,
but
typically I
but but
say
wait,
the
I shouldn't initiate anyway, right? The
right. Oh,
label.
no, no, no. But I thought you meant if he does come around and you go
Uh,
out.
uh-huh. Yeah, okay.
Then you might say, "Oh, well, what took you so long?" But again, I'd probably, unless it comes up kind of organically, I'd probably say don't say that like the first time you see him, you know? Wait and see if you guys have a rapport. It might be irrelevant whether or not he got back to you in a quick way. If you don't really like him, who cares?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
And what kind of answer are you looking for? Well, I couldn't decide if I liked you. Like, what do a lot of times people don't know. And then they're on the defensive. And it's like to preach, teach, bitch, moan, complain, question, or criticize. Typically, you make an appointment. Now, that's a small question, but I could see it going, poorly.
Yeah.
So just see if it comes up organically, kind of feel it out. But otherwise, just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. I'm taking it, I was feeling so great about like just not caring and really not taking it personally and not seeing them as any different or less than or what I mean, just like really cool with it. But it's
Hmm.
really starting to irritate me again, more than irritate, like kind of hurt.
Right. Yeah. And, I mean, that will happen. All growth is not linear. You go forward, you go backward, you go up, you go down. And there'll be different times where you'll be sensitive for another reason. And then sometimes your mind will cast around and go, hey, and by the way, I hate that guy who took 10 weeks, you know, or whatever it is. So sometimes we tend to, one of the things that says it's a really nuanced thing, but it's so great if you can notice this in yourself. Sometimes we have, we've talked about this negative scripts. And so, I did a reel about this today as I have a client who said nothing ever works out for me, which is just a good, concise example of a negative script. And it's not true. Obviously, this guy has tons of things working out for him. But when you have a negative script, then you start to look around for things to confirm it. Not because it makes you feel good, but it is familiar, and you can kind of get addicted to the familiarity of it and the way it makes you feel bad simply because it's predictable. And so you have to be conscious of that when look, we're on this planet with duality. So you're going to have pain, you're going to have pleasure. You're going to have happy, you're going to have sad. You were happy before, you're going to be sad. That's just the way it is. But, you know, what we try to do is to mitigate the sadness by not letting it snowball and run away from us. And sometimes when we're looking around too hard for a reason for our sadness, we start to find them, and they start to fit the script of nothing works out for me, or whatever it is. Well,
Yeah.
I can mention this, and you'll always find evidence because the mind can do that, you know. And so one of the things to do is you have to be aware in that moment and then try to reach for literally higher vibrational thoughts, more positive thoughts, alternative thoughts that aren't that same negative script. Because, the scripts really distort your lens and make it hard for you to see what is actually happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Wendy's been in a couple modules with me, so if some people didn't understand that, don't worry. We've worked together before, so there's a little bit more of a shorthand. But if you want to sign up for those, please do, and you can do that on the website. I'm probably going to be teaching a module 1 coming up soon. Okay, Patrick.
Hi.
Hi, Patrick. Welcome. How can I help you?
Yeah, I've been trying to meet people online, but some people refuse to do video chat.
Right.
That would be a red flag if they don't want to do it.
I think so. I think so. Because, like, what are they hiding? What are they avoiding? And then, like I said, if you can't, a lot of times a video chat is like a stepping stone to an in-person meeting. So
Uh-huh.
if you can't even get the video chat, then how are you going to meet in person? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if that's the case, that's a good, saves you time, move on to the next person.
Yep. Because I've been struggling to have a partner so I could be like my relatives, my cousins, and my sister who are married and have dates, and it never happens to me.
Right. Well, are you on the apps? Are you flirting in
Yeah, but
person?
people keep asking me for money when after they get to know me better.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure I can help you. So, I'm sorry about that, but that's not really my specialty. Okay. Hi, Zoom user.
Right. Yes, I'm actually not able to change my name every time. I don't know why. This is my second module with you. So I've heard
Oh,
about that
welcome.
8 weeks. Yeah, I really enjoy these meetups. Thank you for introduce those methods. And last time really worked, but now I have a question. Based
Okay.
on your experience, how frequent should people in relationships see each other?
Meet each other?
Yeah.
Well, there's no one answer to that. I don't know if you heard this part. I was just saying, some people want to see their partner every day. Some people are happy with weekends only or even twice a month. I have couples that I work with who are long distance for parts of the year, and they will only see each other twice a month. So it's really about what you can negotiate and what you want and what you're comfortable with. There's no like one thing.
I do want more. How far distance are you talking about? If it's 1.5 hour, is that far?
It just depends. If it's easy, an hour and a half by car, if someone
Yeah,
has
by
a car,
car.
it just depends how easy it is for the people involved to make that journey. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I do have people who were like an hour and a half by car that would be completely unacceptable, you
mm,
know, but some people like driving and that's fine for them.
yeah. So only once a month, sometimes even I initiate it. So I think that's not enough. Although personally, I actually told him I don't want to have a relationship with him yet, although we both like each other. That goes to my second question. We both are not officially divorced yet.
Okay.
My mine is in process, but he is still uh not filed yet. That's why I told him no, I don't do married men.
Oh, I think I remembered you. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So,
So do you think it's okay to continue talking to him? Some
and
people say, "Oh, you
you're
shouldn't talk
still,
to
and you're
married men."
seeing him once a month? Is that what you said?
At most once a
At
month.
most. Okay. Yeah, at most. I mean, yeah, I think twice a month. It's hard to go under twice a month is what I was going to say about that. And maintain the intimacy. Now, or every 2 weeks, I would say that would be a minimum. But okay. The
Okay,
fact that you're talking to him, even though both of you aren't divorced, but yours is underway, but his is not underway, correct?
that's right.
Okay. Well, it just depends what you want to get out of it, I mean, it doesn't sound like he's available for a relationship right now. And
That's
certainly,
what I told him too.
yeah, he's not giving you time.
Hmm.
He's not able to do that. And so that really hinders how much you guys can connect. And my only concern would be, I mean, how does he make you feel? If it's giving you some kind of comfort that um, he's there and you can talk to him and he's a friend, well, then continue doing it. But I think for most people, that situation ends up becoming frustrating and it
Mm.
starts to feel like a waste of time, right? Because if you're not seeing them in person, then you're not really in a relationship. And so it's like, what are you getting out of it? I just want to make sure you're getting something out of it.
I am in this stage that want someone to talk to, so I don't mind to talk to a guy or a woman. And this guy happened to be pretty easy to talk to, and we get along with each other. And it's funny to talk to him. Uh,
Okay.
we
Well, are you talking to other men as well?
if there are other men I will talk to, but right
Okay.
now
Because
because
that's
just
my,
work and gym, I you recommended go out 45 minutes,
yeah.
but I when I go out, I haven't seen anyone that I would like to smile at and say hello. So
Okay.
I
Well,
haven't started yet.
okay. Yeah. I mean, that's my concern
It's
is that,
weird to look at a stranger and just smile. Isn't that weird?
yeah, it is. It's hard. It's vulnerable. That's what being vulnerable is, though. I mean, it's, it's all in the eye contact. So it
Mm,
sounds really simple and really easy when I say it, but you're not the first person to be like, oh my God, I'm like having a freak out doing it because it feels so vulnerable.
mm.
My only concern with you is that you're getting overly attached to this guy who isn't even like, you're not even dating him. He's not even one among many, right? He's just somebody that you're talking to. And I just worry about just for your mental health, you getting too attached and then him not being,
I
you know what I'm
I
saying?
was because in the beginning the communication is pretty frequent. I was pretty attached at that time, but now it's a little better. When he does not contact me, I felt okay, calm down to not to contact him either. Um, so right
Okay.
now
Well,
I'm
yeah,
getting
just keep an eye on it for yourself and don't let it. Sometimes when you're in a situation like this, it can kind of take the edge off, which is nice in a way, but then it doesn't motivate you to meet other people because you're like, well, I have this other dude I can talk to on the phone. And that's fine for now.
mm,
So you don't want to take the edge too much off. because, it's that loneliness that will drive you to meet somebody else to go out and do those flirts.
Is it good or bad?
Well, it's not
Shall
good
I
or
do it?
bad. It just depends what you want. If you want to start up a relationship with somebody else, he doesn't sound like a great candidate because he's not available right now,
That's right, yeah.
you
But I
know?
also to learn how also from communicating with any man, how do I do it?
True.
Although in
True.
the beginning he said there was feeling and I did have the feeling, but now because contact is less, um, so I just don't feel so close anymore.
Right. Right. And that happens naturally because you're not seeing him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, at the end of the day, he's living with another woman. He's married.
Yeah.
So,
Although, um, although last weekend we did go out for a hike together. He invited me to hike. We both like hiking, by the way.
okay. And how was that?
That was great.
Okay.
It was, I don't know, you're in California or not. I'm in California.
Yeah.
So we went out for a hike. We actually went overnight, but not sleeping together.
Okay.
We didn't have any intimate relationship, but it was great for hiking and talking.
Okay. Well, good. If you can manage it and you can enjoy it, great. I just don't want it to stop you from meeting other men.
Yeah, I would like to learn how to meet other men too,
The
besides
other thing
just
is that
walking the.
sorry, I just was saying I understand you're practicing on him and I think that does have value. But just understand that this guy, you're seeing him so infrequently. It's a little hard to tell. He can be on good behavior every time he sees you because it's so short. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Not getting to know him that well in a way,
that's right.
because even, a good psychopath or sociopath can fool you for up to a year.
Oh,
So he
okay.
has, I don't know who this guy is. We know he's deceiving his wife, which doesn't really count in his favor. Um, because it's another problem is sometimes when you hook up with somebody who, when it comes out of like a cheating situation or some kind of deception, then the second he's not answering your call or not available, then you're like, oh shit, he's probably cheating on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Yeah, that's
that.
my concern as well.
Yeah. So
But
there's just a few things for you to look at there. If you're getting something out of it and you want to keep doing it, okay. But, certainly don't let it stop you from trying to meet other people.
although it can be true that his wife cheated on him before, as he said, because that I learned that it's before my ex cheated on me, so that's how we met from the
Oh, right,
infidelity
right,
group.
right. That's right.
So
Right.
it's possible that is true, and I never told my ex or not ex, soon to be ex, about I'm seeing others or talk to others.
Right.
So that is possible, but however, I still think he's not filing and I
Right.
should
And
restrict
that's a
the
concern. Yeah.
relationship. Yeah.
Because his deeds and his
But
words aren't lining up because he's been saying he wants to get a divorce, but he hasn't really done anything about it.
yeah, although he has a reason why he hasn't done it, but we'll see. So my question for the future to meet other guys then, besides walking on the street and see others and smile,
Mm-hmm.
well, I have learned that some people recommend to go to restaurant or gym or wherever to meet people.
Yeah.
I just don't know how I can meet others.
Well,
Isn't it hard?
yes and no. I mean, the truth is you can meet people anywhere. You can meet someone at the grocery store. You can meet someone at the post office. So it's really about, making sure that you're giving yourself enough exposure. And if I don't remember if it was you, but somebody was telling me they work from home and so they don't and then they order everything. So if you're in that situation, you need to kind of push yourself to get out, go do your own shopping. Don't order from Amazon. And follow your interests, whatever your interests are. So if that's like going on a hike with the Sierra Club or engaging in an alumni group. I know a bunch of girls who were telling me about this chess club in LA where it's like all guys and they, some of them are hot, and they're into it. So
Mm.
there's not that many girls there. I have clients learning how to play golf to meet men, or going to dog parks, or getting a dog. Getting a dog is, if you do like dogs, that is a good way to meet people.
Mm.
So, it's about doing something that's authentic to you, that you're interested in, something that'll make you feel good. Going dancing is really good. I have a number of clients who do ballroom dancing, and it's pretty easy to fall in love with your partner. So, it is going to take some time and effort, doing extra stuff, but in general, like, doing things that make you feel good will pump up your feminine energy anyways, so it's kind of a win-win.
But also, some people recommend that and say you first need to learn how to live by yourself. It's okay to be alone first. So
I
should
don't
I
think it
try
has to
to?
be that way. I don't think it has to be that way.
Oh,
Most people
okay.
don't want to be alone.
Yeah. I don't know
You
why
know,
they
I
say
think
you
that's,
need.
I don't know. I kind of think that's wrongheaded. You might be alone anyway for a while. Ultimately it's
That's
God's
right.
plan, like when you meet somebody. So you might as well try, yeah,
Yeah, that's what
forcing
I think
yourself
too.
to be alone, unless it's like, whatever, you're preparing for the Olympics and you need to focus, or you something like that. I just I don't really subscribe to.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
that's
gonna
good.
move on because a couple other people have questions.
Thank
But
you.
you're welcome, and thank you for sharing. And of course, if you want to set something up, reach out to me through my website or Instagram. Okay. Hi, Joan. Are you there? Hmm.
Okay, I was pushing the wrong button. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
That's okay. How can I
Hi,
help you?
Chloe.
Hi, how are you? How can I help you?
Uh, um, well, it's kind of, I don't have a really great question, and I kept checking the chat to see if there were other people that maybe had a better, more useful question. Um, but it's interesting to hear the other ladies talking, because I remember being more on in their side, and I've gone so far the other side where now I'm like, I know so much exactly what I want that I will not waste my time on anyone who feels like they're dicking me around.
Right.
So, at any rate, that's not why I was calling.
Oh, okay.
But it's making me wonder, did I go too far to the other side? Because, I'm, tired of the wasting my time kind of thing.
Right. Right.
And because I do know, I've been single a long time and I know what I want. But at any rate, that's not why I called.
Okay.
Um, I actually was wanting to join this call to talk to you a little bit more about me and my daughter, but I don't think I'm going to do that now. But I have something that's going on at work,
Okay, shoot.
and it's just awkward, and I don't know how to handle it. It's so far out of my comfort zone. So I'm going to try to say this succinctly. I manage a small division at work, and there's another woman who manages a small division at work. And she does not like me, like at all, at all, at all. And we have had historically, this going back 10 plus years, we've had issues. And it wasn't so much of an issue for me, I guess, until she recently got promoted to basically the same position that I'm in, but for a
Uh-huh.
different division. And so now we're equals, but that didn't control anything like the way I worked with her, right? But we didn't have to work with each other very often. But now we do. And
Okay.
so we sat down at a table about 3 months ago, me, my boss, her boss, and we tried to like work through our stuff. And for the most part, I'm going to say, 75% was, misunderstanding each other
Mm-hmm.
and, maybe, being a little butthurt going in, right?
Right.
With our own individual attitudes and thoughts, perceptions, and blah, blah, blah. And I thought we were doing pretty good. And just this morning, and mind you, I'm on vacation this week, but there's something I've been waiting for her division to do to take care of. And so I shot one of her supervisors an email and said, hey, I'm just checking up on this. Like, I'm not sure if you're aware, but this has been, we started this about 2 months ago. And they're basically my purchasing people. And I'm trying to purchase something, right, for work.
Mm-hmm.
And attendance and sponsorship at a conference that's really important for me and my team to go to. And it's not going through very quick. So I've been like jumping in about once a week, just checking in, shooting an email like, hey, how's this going? And normally this kind of thing is like a 1 week turnaround.
Right.
But there's a problem with this thing. And I feel like I've been really patient. And again, should have been taken care of in no more than 2 weeks, the most, but normally it's like a 1 day thing, but you can expect it to take about 2 weeks by the time it gets to their queue, right?
Right.
And so at any rate, one of her supervisor emailed back and she was really offended. And I just shot off a little 3-line email trying to keep it short and knowing that they kind of do get defensive. But I just said, hey, I'm checking up on this. I've been out of the office all week and I'm not sure where this is at, but this is a really important conference and I don't want to miss the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, just so you know, we sent this request in June, like
Right.
the first week of June. And she came back and was really upset with me. And I feel terrible, like really terrible, because I just feel really bad. I wasn't trying to get her upset, but her response was like, we've been working on this diligently and da 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 and all these things. And I was like, oh my God, I offended her. And now I'm like, I don't know how to come back from this. Like, I don't want to just leave it sit there. I need to acknowledge it. I want to apologize.
Why do you need to
to
apologize?
explain.
Wait. You're just doing your job and trying to figure this out. She's in the wrong. Obviously. Why is she dragging her feet? It doesn't make sense. Now, with the politics at your office, you just might not be the person to reach out about it. You might have to elevate it to your supervisor.
And
But you
that's
just be
one thing I'm
straight about
trying
it.
not to do. I don't need to bring other people in to do my work. I thought I was just a check-in, and but
Well,
I
is
do.
there a
I
cutoff date?
clearly. Well, it's that we're going to miss out on sponsoring. The organization is holding a sponsorship table for me. They are sold out, and they've got people who would want to are ready to cut the check. And my company can't cut the check due to a technicality in the computer system. It's just been silly. Apparently,
Okay.
though, it's worked out. And I'll tell you the other thing. She has a whole new staff. She lost all her people at once. And so she has a team of like 3 new folks. And of course, so I got one of the new purchasing agents who was
Okay.
working on mine. And so I was reaching out to him, and I realized early on from the email he sent to the organization, okay, he's new, like really new, right? Didn't walk in the door with a lot of experience kind of thing.
Right.
So I kind of was paying more attention once I realized that. But due to this history of,
Okay. Is it
not getting
resolved now?
along, sort of. I think the conference thing is on its way to being resolved and will be resolved by Monday. So
Okay.
that's not my
So
concern.
that's
My
good.
concern is the relationship. Like,
Okay.
how
Then
can
you just
I try to
respond.
fix this, or help them understand I wasn't trying to insult you and your team at all.
It doesn't. I don't know that that's what she thinks. And there's
That
not
is what
a lot
she
of
thinks by her
room.
email that came back. That's what she thinks. She says,
Right, but
you're
sometimes people
insinuating that me and my team are not doing our job, and we've been working on this diligently, and da 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 da. and that's probably true, but they're not working on it consistently, right? They're only working on it when I shoot an email saying, hey, what's the update?
Right.
And so I have some legitimacy. Oh, I think I'm legitimate in my ask this morning, but I feel terrible that I upset her to the extreme that she got upset.
Well, that's on her. That's not on you. Do you understand? You didn't
But I have to
call
work
her.
with them, and I am working so hard on repairing the overall relationship.
I understand, but it's not all under your control. So all you can say is, oh, great. If it's resolved, just look, obviously you're in a little bit of a cycle with this person of her triggering you and you triggering her. And then once that starts up, you guys are just off to the races and with the triggers. And there's no one to really back it down. So you need to stop. You need to realize, oh, you got triggered by her response. I don't want you to be emotional to her at all, vulnerable to her at all. This is work. So it's just like, oh, please excuse me. This opportunity is really important to me. Don't get into your feelings with this person, and certainly don't take on her feelings as something that you need to cherish. How did she get that? How does she get that? She's not even a loved one. No, you guys are at work. You can respect her. You can respect each other. But what you described to me in your email sounds perfectly respectful. And I would just keep things formal and respectful. And don't internalize her criticism. A lot of people say they're upset as a way of seducing you with guilt, and it's working. How upset can she be by you checking in on that? Maybe, but it sounds like she's got her own problems. You're not responsible for all that. This is work. You got to get to this conference. You're being polite. Just stay there. Stay polite. Don't let this woman trigger you. Don't take the bait. You understand?
I hear you, and you're making so much sense, right? Like, great sense, Chloe. And what's wrong with me, though, that I have this terrible, not terrible, but very strong desire to clear my name, so to speak, and I actually talked to my boss about this today, something I never would have done before, except we had that meeting 3 months ago, and I asked him to come in on that meeting because I needed the support. And so I told him that I wanted to talk to her and just say something, and he says, yeah, I drafted an email that was very clear and apologetic, as well as I wasn't insinuating that. I just know that your team is new, and this is not moving at the normal speed that you guys work at. So I've been checking in on a regular basis because it's important. And I said it, I think, more eloquently and nicer in the email, but in general, that was sort of the
Right.
feel of the email I wanted to send. And he said, I think your email is great, but I don't know that you should send an email. You should probably talk to her. But it's like, I sent her an email directly. She CC'd her boss and the director of finance, who is my equivalent. And now I feel like, well, now I got to do something because I've been working really hard to repair that relationship.
No. It's not all on you. And it's not that something's wrong with you, but you have people pleasing tendencies, and they don't serve you. And I don't want you to act out of integrity. You, me, and your boss all know what you wrote was fine. There was nothing crappy in it. Let her die on her own rope. Let her make a big deal out of a 2-line email. Let her do her thing. Who cares what she does? Don't try to control her, and don't have a fantasy that you're going to have some kind of great relationship with her after 10 years of stress with this woman. She's obviously gamey. She's playing games with you. Don't take the bait. Just act professional. Just if it comes up again, just say, "Oh, please excuse me. That's not what I meant." But don't give it any more air than you need to. She's trying to distract everybody with her bullshit. Just don't do it. You're good. You know you're good. Your boss
Well,
knows you're good, but you don't want to give everyone around you a headache with this conflict. So my suggestion is you just be polite to her. You can say, "Oh, please excuse me. Thank you so much for handling it." Just keep doing that. If you want, sometimes it helps to think, I'm too dumb to realize how much she's insulting me. I'm too dumb to realize how much she hates me. This is beneath you. Do you understand?
sort of. I
Okay.
hear what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I think you're right in so many ways. And you know what I'm saying on the inside, Chloe? Yeah, but
I
yeah,
know.
but yeah, but Chloe,
I
like,
know. But that's the script that doesn't serve you. That's the negative script that doesn't serve you. And it's coming up so strongly. It's so hot. Usually these things are so hot because a lot of us in childhood found that if we couldn't make things right, if we couldn't accommodate and make our parent, caregiver, whoever the adult was in the room, feel okay, then we weren't going to get our food, or we weren't going to get help with homework. We weren't going to get new clothes, or whatever the hell it was. But you're not in that situation now. We've worked together before. I already know you're good at your job. You're obviously good at your job. You have the support of your boss. I know you've told me before you're good at your job. So I'm already on board with all that. So I just don't want you getting sucked into this very typically female emotional kerfuffle with this woman, because you're above that. And I know it's going to be really hard, and that doesn't mean that you're not going to have pain and cry about it and be triggered, but this is a really good opportunity for you to stop trying to please her and just do your job. You're not required to please this person. She's in a lateral department. You've asked about this. She doesn't want to help you. She does want to help you. Nothing you do is really going to affect that. You've already had 10 years. You already had this meeting, and this is still what she's doing. So, you're just going to have
so
to take the higher ground.
yeah, and I've been trying to do that, and I've pretty much been doing that, um, especially since we had that meeting. But what, how,
Not, not everything needs to be resolved with a little neat bow. You don't control her. You only control you. You're not going to be able to make her feel a certain way or make her act a certain way. All you can do is manage you. So just work on that. That's where your work is not taking on the responsibility for something that you and I and your boss know isn't yours. It's on her. Let her make a fool of herself.
okay, it's going to be tough for me to just let it go, but I definitely hear you.
Okay. It's one of those things. It's like, I was dealing with something really similar with another client recently where she had sent out an email asking an innocuous question about an event, and he responded very defensively. But what that showed was not that my client did something wrong, was that he was a very poor communicator, despite having double degrees and whatever. He was a very poor communicator, and he was very emotional because he only responded to the thing that he was triggered by. And it showed that they weren't going to be able to have an honest communication. And ultimately, she had to work around him. And that's probably what you're going to have to do with this person. I mean, strategically, maybe you can find another ally in that department if she gets in your way too much, But honestly, I mean, I'd be stoked that she sent out that email. She made herself look like an idiot. You sent a totally nice, and that's your whole vibe and your whole persona is that nice person. So just try not to worry about it so much. You're okay. You're good. You don't need to fix her problem. but we
Well,
can
you
talk.
pegged it a minute ago when you said, you know, like when we were kids, right? Making things right. For me, it was actually being good, right? I wanted to be good in my parents' eyes.
Right.
And I never wanted to look bad. I was the kid who always self-corrected, right? And so that's my thing is I don't want to be seen in a negative light, and I take that extra sensitive.
Of course. Oh my God, I'm just like you. I'm the same way. And I'll tell you this quickly and then I'm gonna wrap it up. Um, and I'm sorry, I know more people have had questions, but that's all we have time for tonight. So either bring your question next week or you can reach out to me during the week and we can set something up. But what I was gonna tell you is I was struggling with the exact same thing. And when I first started this work and I was having this experience, and maybe I've told you this before, I've told this story before, but where I was going to the public pool in my neighborhood and I always brought really nice toiletries with me. And people there would ask to use them. And they were complete strangers. Why should I keep giving all my toiletries away, which were really nice, to complete strangers if I didn't want to? What was I doing? Why did I keep doing it? Why couldn't I say no? And I was struggling with it so much because of what you just said, because I didn't want to be perceived by what my parents would say, specifically my mother, what is a nice person? I'm not being a nice person. And finally, somebody asked me, I did end up giving it to her, but like with a really mean, bad attitude. Then the next time somebody asked me, I said, I'm giving it to she was like, look, I'll bring you some soap. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. She actually did end up bringing me some soap. And then from then on, nobody asked me again because I just solved it for myself. I just was like, you know what? It's okay. I don't need to give anyone my toiletries. But in the beginning, it was so hard. It was crazy hard. And I remember talking to a friend about it, and she's like, "Oh my God, Chloe, what's wrong with you? Like, why can't you do that? Why can't you just say no?"
Right,
And I'm
right.
like, I don't know." And then I brought a lot of awareness to it, like we're doing now for you. And it was a process, but now it doesn't even come up. And I would have no problem saying no, and I wouldn't feel I was not a nice person.
Yeah, and I never want to be a troublemaker either, which is why I never used to like run to my boss or anyone at work, right? And plus I think that's just so immature. I'd
Right.
rather deal with the person directly. If they're mad at me, come tell me what I did wrong so I don't do it the next time. Right? Don't go to my boss and her boss and tell everybody else that I'm messing something up and doing it,
Mhm.
blah blah blah. But so I think I've made progress on that. Um, and actually some of it is coming through in my dating, right? Because this is all
Good.
kind of
Yeah.
tied together, right? This is like
Yes.
who I am at my core, and so I do this in all my relationships.
Yes.
But one of the things that I was going to talk to you about and changed my mind was, I talk to you often about my daughter and I and our rocky relationship, and I'm going to have to call back and talk to you about it another time because her and
Okay.
I both have this be good syndrome,
Right.
right? And so at any rate,
Okay.
I'm going to
Okay.
be looking at this though this week, and I'll call you back next week, maybe.
Okay, good. Yeah, or we can do a private too. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It might be
you're
time
free.
for another private.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, you
okay.
guys. Well, thanks for coming and thanks for sharing. As always, I love doing these groups. And if I didn't get to you again, come back next week or we'll set up a private. I'm usually here every Thursday at this time. Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye, Chloe. Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.